energy fill the skies. I say thanks for
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, I have been chatting with the president of the All Fisherfolk Association here in Tobago, Mr. Curtis Douglas. Now, we have a new regime that's in power at the central government level. What are some of your expectations from this new administration?
Well, before I even talk about expectation, I would say, those are our two representatives from Tobago. They have done well, the MP for the East and the MP for the West, right? I congratulate them, right? Make no mistake, these are the two people that will be taking the fight to Trinidad, and I hope that they do their best to ensure that, our concerns are being heard. And that is the key, right? So all those who were thinking election is over and these people would have championed the cause, kudos to them. But so what I expect, they know what are the problems. They know, they live in Tobago. They are not strangers. It's not like we elected Trinidadians to represent us. We elected people who were in the system. Mr. Sampson were in the system, and Tomohi were fired. So he knows they're supposed to be or know the problem that Tobago face. So I expect them to represent, because in the campaign, they would have made some utterances for representation on what they're going to do. So I expect nothing more than the utmost best, right? Utmost best. And I hope they take, they would have paid attention to those who were there before and see what were their shortcomings. Because down there you're all alone, right? But you're all alone. So I expect them to champion some of these causes that Tobago are facing.
And even as it pertains to the new government at the central government level, which is the UNC that's now in power, and the Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, what are you expecting, and what does the All Tobago Fisher Folk expect as it pertains to a new dawn or a new day, as it pertains to some of your concerns that you have voiced, even as you requested that meeting?
There are so much that Tobagoanians are expecting, and there's so much that as an organization, as the Fisher Folk are expecting. One, we're expecting the energy resources in Tobago, that when all of these energy companies come to do their research and the exploration, that fishermen will be compensated and not be pushed around and not be lied to and not being dragged through the mud as though we are dishonest. And we also expect that the fishing industry and the agriculture industry will be taken at more serious, because this is food level, and trying to eliminate some of the import and try to upgrade on some of the export of local goods and services. So these are some of the things, and we also expect the fishing industry, in the terms of the arrangement, in the terms of rules and regulation, can be set to ensure to govern and also to guide the fishing industry or the economical industry in Tobago. Because right now, as it stands, the Tobago economic growth is stifling or is being choked as it is. So I expect these are some of the key issues for Tobago will be addressed. And also one of the major issue is not even so much autonomy, but an arrangement, a better arrangement whereby Tobago could be able to make the laws for that the teacher will be able to implement more things and bring more income revenue earning systems, processes to Tobago, so that we can earn and stand up on our own, and also to get a more better fair bite at the cherry in the terms of budgetary allocation for Tobago. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. This is all about Tobago, right? It's all about Tobago. And these are some of the things that we are expecting to be done by the Prime Minister. As I said, she said when UNC win, all of we win. So we expect to win, right?
Right. And even as it pertains to those outstanding monies for the Tobago Fisher Folk, is that something that you would be bringing up in those meetings?
Yes, because one of those key is the fact that ATFA still hasn't been paid for the oil spill work that we would have done. We haven't been paid in full yet. but we would have realized those type of victimization we should try to get rid of those type of things, because it is not only hurting one man, it's hurting a whole host of family.
Right. But wasn't it said that ADFA would have received $3 million from the THA?
Shenell, if you're working for 5 million and updates only pay you 2 and they owe you 3,
I
now
don't
just
know.
ask,
I don't know how much you owe,
so
you are owed, and how
just,
much you
I
were
am just
paid.
saying to you, if you do a job like you're hosting yesterday
Right.
and they're supposed to pay you $5 and they only pay you 2, that means they owe you. So I'm saying to you now and to the listeners, it doesn't matter what they pay me, they hasn't paid me my money in full.
Right. And what is still outstanding from the THA?
I will have to check, over 3 point something million.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that it's sad that not even a conversation or a message, but on the other hand, what I would have said or seen happening is before election, we would have seen some fisher folk would have get compensated, because this money now that they get compensated recently here was they paid some fishermen before election, and after the election, what they did, they tried to hold a meeting down at fisheries to ask all fisher folk who was affected by the oil spill to come down to fisheries. So you had fishermen going down to fisheries from within the hours of 9 to 12, and that was spearheaded by Derek Leet, right? And the oil spill committee. So here are fishermen going down hoping to get compensated, because they are saying, now, finally, fishermen will now be compensated. So when they go down there now and they meet them, to hear Derek telling them, oh, they are not eligible. The only people are eligible for compensation are the fisher folk that are affected between Scarborough and Lambo. But yet still, the vendors are not compensated in Lambo. The Lambo vendors, none of them are being compensated. But we are seeing people compensated that directly wasn't from Lambo or Scarborough. But hey, I'm not here to make any noise about how they choose. But what I'm saying, if you're compensating, you cannot select few people to compensate them. You must compensate the whole lot. So if you have a
So are you saying that all fisherfolk in Tobago should be compensated, or just the ones who were directly impacted, who often fish on that Lambo area there?
No, you see, you have to understand, because quite clearly you don't understand. You're saying who are in the Lambo. It's sometimes not who in the Lambo. It's who fish in that area.
Correct.
Right? So people who I know for a fact that was fishing area was not compensated. A whole lot of fishermen from Buku, from Pigeon Point, from Plymouth, even Fast Culloden was not compensated. And these men had a fish pot and was catching snappers, and they was not compensated. So they single out who they wanted to compensate and compensate them.
Right. So how do you suggest that they put mechanisms in place in order to properly assess who were directly affected and who weren't? How should the THA go about doing that?
Shenell, they started by asking for the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association input. We are the guru. That's our line. We would have made a recommendation. But when you start to bring in your own people to get the results you want, that's the problem. So what we did, I would have submitted the amount of how many people were affected. I did, right? And then they bring this organization. But this organization is fractured in so many ways. Because when you start to have personal feelings in an organization, then you have problem. Because we all know we try to get rid of what in Tobago we call nepotism. We want to get rid of that. It doesn't matter. We all have to be good. Shenell, this is what hurt me. We all have to be good, and somewhere along the line, we all are related. So why victimize? So anyway, what they should have done is, if you have 5 million, Shenell, you work along with me, and let's see how best we can pay these fisher folk, the vendors, and all of these people who was affected, because we need them to restart. We need them to restart it, right? To ensure, and not only just give them the money, we also allocate people to work with them to ensure that they get a restart. That is how we build. Not just give because you like this one or you don't like this one. We should get rid of that kind of behavior. So we need to build a proper structure.
Right. And as it pertains to the Old Tobago Fisher Folks Association, what are some of the big projects and some of the big items that you are leaning towards within the next year to ensure that you as an organization help to improve fisher folk on the island?
Shenell, what I love that question. And one of the biggest item we have on the card right now is to be meeting the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Parliament to ensure we can capsulate and we can put the antibiotics in the fishing industry and we can clean the fishing industry and put in a proper structure. One, to bring forex to our country. Two, to ensure that we have a landing fish assessment, stock assessment being done, because to do a fish stock assessment out in the sea is very costly. So some of the things we would like to do or to introduce into the fishing community, into the fishing society, is one or two. Either when they pay the $3,000, they either come to Palatavere or Charlottesville or Plymouth and they buy the fish, this flying fish from the locals, so we know how much stock, how much flying fish is leaving our shores and leaving our shores of Tobago, so then we can be able to have that data to compare. Or every single Bajan boat that comes into our water, we also send out, appoint people to go out to ensure know the tonnage of the fish and the method and stuff like that. So these are some of the main things. Without we do not start the foundation, we will just be spinning top in mud, because I could do a next fish pot program where I'm showing men how to make fish pot. I could do a net program, but if there is not enough fish there for them to go and catch, all those programs is just a waste. So we have to start at the core of the matter.
Right. And are there any tangible investments that you would be making? I mean, even as you are calling for that monies that are outstanding from the THA, can we see ADFA investing in possibly more vehicle, more boats, or, whatever it is that the fishermen need tangibly to help improve their trade?
Well, what we need to do is what I didn't mention is that we will also have a conversation with the Prime Minister, whereby probably through the ADB bank, fishermen could now be able to upgrade in the size of boats, to have more SOFA loans and have it a program run for the next 8 years to ensure that we have bigger boats so we can go out and stay longer at sea and such. So these are some of the programs, because not everything I would have mentioned in this interview, but those are one of the programs that we have set up. So the last program we would have done, it was done under this same government, which is the UNC government, which is called the Small Watercraft program. So we are still looking to invest and see how best we can champion and go forward and call it the big watercraft program instead of small, because we're looking to see that the fishermen, instead of 2 or 3 of them, can come together and buy bigger boats so we get bigger catch. And also you have other things that I don't want to mention,
right,
because what happens, we realize when people listen to me, they go and they repeat what they hear, but they don't understand how it goes. So we have programs for that, and also program how to get the fish off of the hands of the fishermen. We also have a program for that as well.
Right. And it's important for ADFA to really play that role, not just as an advocacy body, but to also help to provide those resources to fishermen on the island.
Yes.
And so it's important for even the fisher folk to hold ADFA accountable for how it contributes to the development of the industry. Not only to go to the THA and ask for those funds to do projects, but to also partner.
Yes.
And use the resources that you do have to help to build out that fishing industry on the island.
Yes.
But we want to thank you for coming in this morning and echoing the sentiments that the fisher folk really need to have an audience with the Prime Minister. And guys, we want to thank you for being a part of this discussion. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversation after this. See you soon.